The strangest mistake men make with girls is not saying the wrong thing. It's believing there is some hidden script that once memorized makes human emotion obedient. That fantasy has ruined more connections than rejection ever did. A guy sees a girl smile, pull away, come back, text warmly, go cold, open up, then act distant, and he starts building theories. He calls it mixed signals. He calls it female nature. He calls it dark psychology. But most of the time, what he's really staring at is not a mystery. It's emotion moving faster than his assumptions can keep up with. And if you're here for truth instead of comfortable myths, subscribe now, because this is for people who want clarity, discipline, and real understanding, not recycled tricks dressed up as wisdom. Here's what this really means. Most men are taught to study girls like puzzles, patterns, weaknesses, buttons to press, but girls are not confusing because they are irrational. They become confusing when you approach them with a need so strong that it distorts what you see. Need for validation, need for control, need for certainty before vulnerability. That need makes you misread normal human behavior as a game. That's the misconception. The misconception is that there's a secret code hidden inside girls, and if you decode it, you win. The hard truth is harsher and simpler. People, especially emotionally perceptive people, feel your energy long before they trust your words. And a lot of girls are more perceptive than men realize. Not magical, not mind readers, just highly aware of tone, inconsistency, presence, and intention. They notice what you say, yes, but they pay even more attention to what leaks through you. Your pace, your tension, your impatience, your insecurity disguised as confidence, your charm used like a tool instead of offered like a natural expression. A girl may not always explain exactly what feels off. Sometimes she can't, but she feels it. That's where the so-called dark psychology begins, not in manipulation techniques, in the shadow part of human interaction most people refuse to examine: projection, fear, status anxiety, emotional testing, self-protection, the quiet battle between wanting connection and fearing what comes with it. A lot of men think girls are attracted to confidence. That's too shallow. What many girls respond to is emotional safety mixed with self-respect. A man who is steady without being passive, interested without being desperate, honest without oversharing for sympathy, present without trying to dominate the room. That combination is rare, which is why performative men get attention, but grounded men get remembered. Read that again in your mind. Performative men get attention, grounded men get remembered. There's a difference. Attention can be triggered by novelty, looks, boldness, mystery. Trust is built by consistency. And if you don't understand that difference, you will keep confusing chemistry with connection. One of the psychological facts almost nobody tells young men is this: many girls are not evaluating you only for attraction. They are evaluating for emotional cost. What will it feel like to be around you after the first conversation, after the first date, after the first disagreement, after the first disappointment? Will you become cold, defensive, controlling, withdrawn, needy? Will every interaction become work? That assessment often happens quietly, and it should humble you, because it means your polished lines matter less than the emotional environment you create. This is why some men lose to men who seem less impressive on paper. The other guy may not be louder, richer, prettier, smoother. He's just easier to breathe around. He listens. He doesn't crowd the moment. He doesn't make every silence feel like a test he needs to pass. He doesn't turn a conversation into an addition for his worth. A girl feels that and her nervous system relaxes around it. That matters more than ego wants to admit. Another uncomfortable truth: a lot of girls have learned through experience to read contradictions because contradictions usually predict pain. If a man says he respects her but keeps pushing boundaries, she notices. If he acts detached but constantly seeks reassurance, she notices. If he says he likes honesty but punishes vulnerability with judgment or withdrawal, she notices. That doesn't mean she always handles it perfectly. It means she is responding to patterns, not just words. So when a man complains that girls are random, sometimes what he means is, I don't understand why my self-image and my actual behavior are being judged separately. They are being judged separately because they are separate. That's reality. And this is where many men go wrong. Instead of becoming clearer, they become more strategic. More tactics, more mind games, more calculated distance, more advice about making her chase, making her jealous, making her uncertain. That's not wisdom. That's fear wearing a sharper suit. Yes, some girls can be inconsistent, some can be avoidant, some can seek attention they do not intend to return. Some can use ambiguity because they themselves are confused. Human beings do this. But if your entire worldview becomes, girls are manipulative, so I must become more manipulative, then you've already lost something bigger than a conversation. You've lost your center. And once a man loses his center, he stops relating and starts managing impressions. He becomes clever but empty, sharp but unstable. He may win moments and lose meaning. He may get responses and still have no peace. The real-life cost is not just bad dating, it's identity damage. You become suspicious where you should be observant, performative where you should be present. You stop asking, what kind of person am I becoming through the way I pursue connection? That question matters, maybe more than any dating advice you've ever heard. Because the darkest psychology is not what girls do, it's what desperation turns you into. Desperation makes you overanalyze delayed replies. Desperation makes you chase people who like your attention more than your presence. Desperation makes you ignore obvious incompatibility because being chosen feels more urgent than being aligned. Desperation makes you call dysfunction chemistry. That's not romance, that's starvation. And starving people mistake crumbs for proof of love. Now pause and picture a different man. He's not dramatic. Not cold, not trying to become some internet caricature of masculinity. He has a life that exists outside of being wanted. He works, he trains, he rests, he keeps his word. He does not rush intimacy because he does not need immediate emotional payment. When he speaks to a girl, he is actually there. He notices how she treats people. He notices whether her warmth is consistent or situational. He is kind, but he does not beg. He is open, but he does not collapse into oversharing. If something feels off, he doesn't spiral into obsession. He steps back, not to punish, but to see clearly. He doesn't need to win the interaction. He needs to remain himself inside it. That man is rare, not because it's hard to imitate, because it's hard to become. He embodies something deeper than charm. He embodies non-neediness, rooted in self-respect, not fake indifference, real steadiness. He does not reduce girls to saints or villains. He sees them as people, complex, perceptive, imperfect, worthy of respect but not worship. That perspective protects him. It keeps him from bitterness and from blind idealization, both of which make men stupid in different ways. Here's another psychological fact that gets missed. Many girls do not fully trust what a man says about himself until reality confirms it under pressure. Anyone can seem patient when things are easy. Anyone can seem confident when they're being admired. Anyone can seem mature while they're getting what they want. But disappointment reveals structure. Boundaries reveal structure. Uncertainty reveals structure. Delay reveals structure. That's where character speaks. If you become irritated when you're not prioritized, that speaks. If you disappear to regain power, that speaks. If you suddenly become generous only when attention is fading, that speaks. If your interest dies the moment she stops entertaining your ego, that speaks. And girls hear that kind of speech very clearly. So what do you do with all this? You stop chasing secret formulas and start building internal clarity. You stop asking, how do I make her feel something? And start asking, what kind of emotional experience do I create when I show up? You listen to your own urgency. If you feel frantic, slow down. If you feel addicted to her attention, create distance from the fantasy, not from reality. If you are tempted to use manipulation, ask yourself, what weakness in you is demanding a shortcut? That's discipline. And when you talk to girls, stop trying to outplay the moment. Let the moment breathe. Ask better questions. Notice what energizes her and what she goes flat around. Watch whether her actions and words cooperate. Believe patterns over promises. Don't punish honesty. If she's not interested, take the information cleanly. If she is interested, don't corrupt it with insecurity. Let things develop at the speed truth can survive, because rushed connection usually becomes fragile connection, and fragile connection breaks under the weight of normal life. Some men need to hear this exactly as it is. Not every girl who pulls away is playing games. Sometimes she senses inconsistency, sometimes she is protecting herself, sometimes she is overwhelmed, sometimes she likes you but not enough, sometimes she is immature, sometimes you are, sometimes the timing is wrong, sometimes there is no villain, only misalignment. Maturity is being able to live with that without building a whole philosophy of resentment. That's power, not getting every girl, not decoding every behavior, not becoming emotionally numb. Power is staying clear, staying clean, staying self-respecting in a world full of bait, ego, projection, and noise. So if you want the real secret, here it is. Girls often reveal less through what they say they want and more through what they consistently feel safe, drawn, and steady around. And you reveal your level too, through your patience, through your reaction to uncertainty, through whether your attention is a gift or a demand. Everything is revealing something. The question is whether you are mature enough to read it without distorting it. This is your reset. Stop treating connection like warfare. Stop treating girls like codes to crack. Stop treating your anxiety like intuition. Stop calling manipulation strength. Become the man who can read reality without flinching. The man who does not chase confusion just because it's emotionally stimulating. The man who would rather be alone than perform for crumbs. The man who can admire a girl without shrinking around her. The man who brings steadiness, not pressure. The man who keeps his dignity whether he is chosen or not. Because once you build that, everything changes. You stop begging for signs. You stop obsessing over mixed energy. You stop romanticizing instability. You stop turning every interaction into a referendum on your worth. And for the first time, you don't need dark psychology. You need clarity. You need standards. You need self-command. That's the kind of strength that changes your relationships in your life. And if you want to keep building that kind of mind with people who value clarity over confusion, discipline over games, and growth over ego, subscribe now and step into this community.